Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into something I think is absolutely fascinating. Instead of looking at a nicely formatted, polished news article today, we're actually going on a bit of a digital excavation. We're going to examine a single, messy, totally raw internet artifact. By looking at actual scraped web data, we're going to see exactly how information gets packaged up and delivered to us in this modern digital age. We're going to literally strip away the noise to find the true signal hidden underneath.
So, how much meaning is actually hidden inside a single digital fragment? It's a pretty great question, right? Think about your own daily internet habits for a second. Think about how often you just endlessly scroll past these chaotic walls of web text, the pop ups, the navigation menus, the sidebars, and you do it without even consciously processing them. Our brains are basically working overtime 24/7 just to separate the core news we actually want to read from the massive avalanche of digital clutter surrounding it. But by actually pausing and taking a hard look at that clutter, we can learn a tremendous amount about how online media is really built.
Okay, so here is our source material for today. This is a raw piece of scraped data pulled straight from a web page. Just listen to this. Top videos, news shows, guide, ways to watch newsletters, shop, hello, my favorites, account settings, sign out, sign in. Change your name, change your email, change your password. You'll also get email updates and special offers from Salem News Channel. Trump surprise call fires up SC conservatives in final primary push. Man, that is incredibly jarring to just read out loud, isn't it? It sounds like a computer glitching out. But the crazy thing is, this is the literal text your browser processes before it magically arranges everything neatly on your screen. This right here is the raw noise we wade through every single day. All right, let's dive into this and actually separate out what we just read. On one hand, we have all this UI clutter, the user interface boilerplate. Stuff like account settings, change your email, sign out, basically the functional mechanics of the website itself. And then, completely buried at the very end of that massive string of data, we finally hit the actual news signal, Trump's surprise call. Like I said, our brains usually filter this out automatically in milliseconds, but breaking it apart like this shows you exactly what we're pushing past just to get to a single piece of news.
Section 2. The Salem News Ecosystem. The environment of the artifact. You see, you really can't fully understand a piece of information without understanding exactly where it lives. Hidden right there in the text of our source data is the name of the network, Salem News Channel. By isolating this specific network name from the jumble of text, we establish the origin platform of our digital artifact. This isn't just some random sentence floating out in the ether. It's a specific product, and it lives on a very specific digital platform. And this list brilliantly illustrates the vast array of content and commerce that surrounds that one singular news item. Just look at the offerings derived directly from that jumbled text. You've got top videos, news, shows, a guide, ways to watch, newsletters, and, this is incredibly telling, a shop. This is absolutely vital for understanding modern digital news. A headline is practically never just a headline anymore. It's just one small piece of a much, much larger content ecosystem that's entirely designed to keep you engaged, watching, subscribing, and even buying things. The news item is essentially the hook, but the ecosystem is the net. And honestly, this quote right here perfectly drives that point home. Tucked right next to change your password and right before the actual political headline, we find this marketing mechanism embedded straight into the account creation flow. You'll also get email updates and special offers. It perfectly highlights this modern blend of news delivery and audience monetization. Basically, to access personalized features or maybe to leave a comment on the news, you're entering into a transaction. You get the news, sure, but the platform gets your data and the right to market special offers directly to your inbox. Moving on to Section 3. Deconstructing the headline, isolating the signal. So we've spent a good amount of time looking at the wrapper, right? But now I want you to mentally clear away all that platform clutter. If we just completely wipe away the sign-in buttons, the shop links, and the special offers, what is the primary takeaway hidden at the very end of all that raw data? What is the actual core event being communicated here? Well, here it is. This is the core artifact we're examining. Trump's surprise call fires up SC conservatives in final primary push. Stripped of its surrounding digital environment, we can look at this statement completely neutrally and clinically. And when you do, you realize it's a remarkably dense, highly efficient sentence. It's designed to convey action, emotion, demographic targeting, and urgency, literally all at once. So let's break this down piece by piece. Now, what's really fascinating here is how zooming in on just these two words, surprise call, reveals the specific sudden tactic used in this political event. In political campaigns, routine speeches and scheduled rallies are totally the norm. But by highlighting a surprise action, the headline immediately injects the sense of spontaneity and exclusivity. It's signaling to the reader that something unscripted or totally unexpected happened, which inherently boosts the news value and grabs your attention.
Next up, we have the phrase fires up. Notice this is definitely not a passive verb. It doesn't say he spoke to or casually addressed an audience. It specifically says he fired up the audience. This reveals the heavy emotional and strategic weight of the phrase as the intended stated result of that surprise call. In political journalism and campaign messaging, mobilization is usually the name of the game. So this headline isn't just reporting that an event occurred, it's actively reporting an emotional shift, an ignition of excitement that's meant to signal serious momentum.
Section 4, Demographics and Primary Timing. The target and the context.
So who exactly is getting fired up here? The text spells it out, SC conservatives, South Carolina conservatives. This objectively identifies the exact audience mentioned in the data, and it's a great reminder of just how highly targeted political actions really are. This event wasn't aimed at the general public, or even the entire state of South Carolina for that matter, but directly at a very specific political faction within a specific region. It's a highly precise deployment of the tactic we were just talking about. And finally, we have the temporal context, the final primary push. This highlights the intense urgency implied by the word final in this primary timeline. Context is literally everything in the news. A surprise call in the middle of the summer, a whole year before an election, that means one thing. But a surprise call in the final push, that means something else entirely. It signifies a last-minute effort, a real climax of campaign activity where every single action carries heavily heightened stakes. So the crucial takeaway here is that when we look at these isolated elements together, we suddenly see the complete anatomical structure of this news fragment. We have the action taken, the tactic, which is the surprise call, and we have the specific group being mobilized, the target, SC conservatives. Viewing it this way, we see a totally direct, engineered relationship. This headline isn't just conveying simple facts. It's mapping out a strategic political equation. Tactic plus target executed perfectly during a highly critical time frame.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. We started this whole thing with just a chaotic string of code and text, shopping links, password resets, and marketing prompts. We literally dug through that digital dirt to find a highly calculated, emotionally charged political headline about a surprise call and a final push. So I leave you with this. How does reading that high-stakes political message while simultaneously navigating a commercial, deeply cluttered ecosystem alter our actual perception of the news? Does all that noise dilute the signal, or does the signal somehow keep us hooked on the noise? It's a really fascinating relationship between the medium and the message, and it's definitely something to keep in mind the very next time you're scrolling online. Thanks so much for joining me on this digital excavation. Keep questioning what you read, and always keep looking for the signal in the noise. Catch you next time.